Hello, hello, hello. We're back live again. Gonna get some invites done and get some shares done. Hope everybody's having a good night tonight.
Hey there.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
How was your day?
Oh, hectic. That's just normal anymore.
Yeah. Were you right up to the wire?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty close. I don't see. Oh, shoot. Shoot. Can Eileen not get on? Lynn?
Did you invite her?
I don't know if she's not in the room. I hope they didn't. Oh, there she is. Let me
Oh
see if
no.
she.
Let's see if they'll allow her up.
I don't think they're going to.
What?
It don't look like it.
For
Wow.
how
I don't
long?
have the. I don't know. I don't have the control to let her up.
Really?
Yep. Let me try the other way. Nope.
Well, that sucks.
Nope. They're not letting her up. I wonder how.
No.
Probably 3 days.
How many days has it been?
Just two, maybe 1.5, 2.
That's just insane.
I know.
Oh, I'm so sad.
Yeah. It's upsetting.
Wow.
Hey guys. Hey Dorothy. Donald.
Hey Donald, hey Dorothy.
Wendy.
She said she can join as a guest starting December 2nd.
Oh wow. Boy, they popped her good, didn't they?
Yeah, that's next week.
Yeah.
That's Tuesday.
Yep.
You're not allowed to be a moderator for how long?
Hey Ryan.
Hey Dorothy. Hey Donald.
Hey Donald. Hey Dorothy.
How long did they give you on that?
She said she doesn't know.
That is crazy. Hey Mark.
Hey Mark.
Hey Mark.
Just for y'all don't know, Lynn is down in the. She's in the chat tonight because they're being mean to her. She said some word they didn't like and they suspended her from being up on the panel. So
Unbelievable.
I know, but just so y'all know, it's crazy. It's getting crazier and crazier. We're losing all kinds of liberties. Tonight's gonna be interesting. As y'all can see, there's the topic finally. uh, this one I think is kind of important though, and it's sometimes out of something bad, Father shows us something good. It's like I found out something by doing this research on him, so that helps us. So that's a good thing. And somebody in one of the groups I posted this to said, "Oh, but he believes in wisdom, Sophia, and I told him, I said, well, that's not probably a good thing because I had told him, I said, Jesus said that wisdom is justified by her children. But when you read it in context, he wasn't talking a really good thing. It's pretty interesting because that's right after that verse where they said that we played the flute for you and you didn't dance. They're talking about the pan spirit is what he was talking about. I need to analyze those too because I bet you it's not quite, like exactly correct. That's another project. I'm going to give it a few minutes. This being the holidays for a lot of people, we may not have a big crowd. I don't know. I didn't check my messages. I might have got popped with something too. I don't know. I didn't even have time to. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm just giving it a few minutes,
Yeah.
because
It
hopefully,
might be. People might be getting
try.
ready for traveling for
Yep.
tomorrow, Thanksgiving. So it may not be.
It may not be a big group tonight.
It may not be a big group tonight, and people will probably have things going on, getting ready for tomorrow at least.
I didn't do anything special except I got some food to cook for Kim and I, and then I got some ice cream with chocolate syrup.
All right. You can never go wrong with ice cream. Ice cream is the answer to everything.
I baked a lemon cake too. It's already ready.
Oh
So,
gosh. Hey, may I have some of that?
Yeah, what time? What time are we going to be there going?
we've got sweets and we've got some food to eat tomorrow. So, but I don't technically celebrate Thanksgiving because it's another one of those paganish things. I just
I don't think
everybody's off,
Father's going to
so
mind us having dinner though with friends and family.
oh, I know everybody's off, so I cook and
I know.
try to get everybody to come. But
I have
it'll
a
be
couple
some
friends
good
coming
eating.
over.
I don't eat meat though, so there's there's no turkey or nothing.
Yeah, I'll take a meatless plate with some mashed potatoes with some veggie gravy. Yeah.
But I
Mac
don't
and
I don't
cheese.
now just because those people out there that do eat meat are not one of these staunch don't think you're supposed to. It's just because of my upbringing that I don't do that. My granny had me try to learn the farm life, and it turned me against it.
I can understand that. My dad wouldn't eat chicken because when he grew up, he was very poor, and it was his job to go kill and skin the chickens, and he didn't eat chicken ever. I don't think I ever saw him eat chicken one time.
Yes, once you go through certain things, it's like the way she was. I mean, she was trying to do good for me, but it kind of backfired on me because I'm too emotional. Of course,
Yeah.
all artists are like that.
Hey Stone, how you doing? We was just talking about you the other day.
Yeah, they're stone.
With the super cool voice.
Yeah, this is interesting, Stone, because I've got concrete proof that he's not telling the truth, and a lot of people won't be familiar with him, so I've got a couple of clips. I'm gonna have to switch the mic out for a second to
Okay.
show y'all, um, just so people can get an idea of what he's like. Because if you haven't ever seen him, you wouldn't believe it. I gotta find where this cord goes. I need to rearrange all my cords again. Oh, they're getting all tangled up. That will be for another day. Where's the end of this one?
I need to invest in a cowboy hat so I can properly greet my friend Stone here. Go ahead and give him a tip, cowboy hat tip.
Okay. I think I'm glad I checked that because I think I had it in the wrong. I would have unplugged the wrong thing. Alrighty. Okay, so we're gonna do that first. There's about 3 or 4 clips, maybe 4. I can't remember how many I did, but it's just give you an idea of what he's like. Okay, let's see. Can y'all hear me in the mic?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Alrighty. I can't remember which one's first. I think this one. Yeah, okay. This is the first one. And this is him channeling the devil.
This is an interview with the devil. I am so happy to be here with you. Your letters to me were everything. The archangel let me out. Every 1,000 years, I get to come out and play, and it's time again. Long and short, it's time for a polar switch. It turns out our 93% was enough to open the door. And thanks to who you are and the kind of people you are, the devil has granted me a right to interview him directly. He has given me access, a channel. I will bring that channel to you, and we, congregation, we will continue. This is an interview.
You gotta get that, man. It's like he is in it deep, very deep. Okay. And this is another part where he's talking, and this is really bizarre, man. His voice even changes.
It's gorgeous. And Michael is going to facilitate the complete release of everything. We want all of the prophecy fulfilled instantly. We have the power to show you what you have been blinded from seeing. We have those texts open, and they bring us right to dawn. They bring us right to dawn. Today I want to begin with an interview. I want to bring you Lucifer, and I want you to be very careful about listening to what he says. Ladies and gentlemen, from the satanic congregation of Lady Babylon, welcome, Lucifer.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you all.
It's gorgeous. And Michael is going.
Now that's all of that part I'm gonna play, because I don't think we need to watch a whole lot of him as the devil talking. You know. Alright. This is him talking about his muse and how he gets his information. And a muse is a demon. That's what he's talking about.
Became an issue with the attorneys involved, to what extent I was operating a cult, right? Well, that became the question. To what point people believe that you were able to translocate and a form that is vampiric, right? And that was the fervor that was on campus. And that fervor perfectly and beautifully matched everything that the muse had told me. Everything in all of these passages. People say, is the muse, are you talking about a muse that's an idea or an ideal? You know, no, I'm talking about an actual muse. I'm talking about opening up a text and being told exactly how to perform certain things, do certain things, and how to work, right? That's the power of the Logos. And when, for example, I tell this one, and I want people to realize this, because I tell it to the courts, it became an issue with the attorneys involved, to what extent I was operating a cult.
Okay, and it's him talking about his court stuff too. He was put on the Catholic tribunal and found guilty of summoning demons, opening portals, all kinds of stuff. Was fired from Minnesota Catholic from teaching Greek. He has his PhD. His name's AMMON HILLMAN.
There's some real significant God stuff going on here, right? When Archilochus stands up and he says, I'm a servant of the God of war and the muses, right? And the beauty of the muses, right? He's not saying that because he's coming up with an abstract idea. People need to understand the muse is not an abstraction. And people say, oh, it's just somebody's inspiration. No, it is not. They didn't talk about that. It's not how they approached it. They approached it as an actual entity, right? The Holy Spirit is the classical muse, right? Christians today walk around praying and working in the Holy Spirit. They understand what that means. There is a reality to it. And that's why some people can sense that reality and will say, oh, he's demon possessed. there's some real significant God stuff going on here, right? When Archelaus stands up and he says, "I'm a servant of the God of war and the muses," right, and the beauty of the muses, right? He's not saying that because he's coming up with an.
Okay, it's replaying. And this is the last one. I just wanted to show y'all how he teaches this. Like, if you did not read Greek, he could be saying anything looking at the script. Like, you know, I can go up from there where it says watch video straight up 3 lines, and that's the word for Jesus. But not anybody would know that unless they read Greek. So I just want you to see how he's telling these people that are believing him, how, you know, the way he's instructing them is crazy. And this is short.
I want to talk about the background of this thing whatsoever. People classify it as pseudo-Clement. You can take that and do with it what you want. I'm interested in the language here and what the Greek is saying. So, so hoide mathetai epitimestai aute kai orgistes o Jesus. Jesus is mad, man, right off the bat. And he came back with her, this woman, to the garden. Where was the Nemeon? Where was the cemetery? Yeah. And right away he heard from the cemetery, right from this tomb, Phone Megale, a great voice, and approaching. Yeah, Jesus moved off the stone from the doorway.
Okay. All right. Switch back. Let me switch back. There it is. Okay, testing. Do I have sound again?
Yep, we can hear you.
Righty. Hey, I'm getting better at this. Okay. You can see from that, okay, the first clip was him channeling the devil. And I just played like a minute, a second or two of him actually doing the devil voice, but it's a whole video of him channeling the devil, talking for the devil like he is speaking as him. And then the last clip was the how he reads to the people. He can read Greek great, you know, and he probably knows what every word in there is. But if you don't know Greek, he could be saying anything that says, and most people wouldn't even know what it meant. And people are buying him hook, line, and sinker. The reason I'm doing this too, guys, just so y'all know, is because I got a ton of messages when this guy started doing these videos. And people were honestly taking him serious. Is he telling the truth? I gotta know. I don't want to be sucked into, you know, they were freaking out. Because he's so, I don't know, he's just like, he can suck people in real easy, and they believe him. And, it's really creepy. But he's in he went into a lot of legal stuff because the Catholic Church had done all that, the tribunal on him, and then he ended up in the court system. He ended up fired from the university. He runs the Lady Babylon on YouTube, and the Lady Babylon cult, or whatever it is, the group. And it is huge. It has grown by craziness. Alien knows one of the little guys that's Samuel, that's on TikTok all the time. He goes to everything this guy does. I mean, every time he's on, for any reason, he's listening. But I'm just gonna kind of get on here and show y'all how he manipulated the Greek, and people buy it because they don't know any better. It doesn't. The lady that did the video, I'm going to show you her too. Her name's Allie, and she was in their group, so apparently she's tied up in all this. But she said that he was not doing it correctly, and so she's come out to expose him now. And they were doing workings where they were throwing curses on anybody that disagreed with them. So she shows that in her video too, and I'll give y'all a link to her her full-length video so you can watch that, because she really went in depth. She did a good expose on him. I thought it was very well done. And she's not a Greek scholar. She's like me. She just knows how to look things up. She did just like I did. She went through and looked every word up that he was saying it meant this or it meant that, and found that he wasn't telling the truth. Let's see. Pull up the slides now. Okay. Oh, I'll pull the wrong one up and pull that back up. Okay. And that's Allie on the right. And the title of this YouTuber she did is "What is AMMON HILLMAN Not Telling You?" And she's there with I can't remember his name. It just went out the window, and I don't have it on there where I can see his channel name. But he's a non-biased person that looks into things and tries to figure out, if they're right or not, and has on tons of different people. His channel's pretty interesting, actually. But he had her on there, and he gives her channel, and I'll put it in the description when I post this on YouTube too. And this is him with another big guy on YouTube called Concrete. And he didn't believe him, but after he did an interview with him, then all of a sudden he's throwing the devil horns, and he's in there with him too. It's really sad. Well, I went to his YouTube, and this is his YouTube channel, and this is what he says. I blew it up on the right so I could read it. That's an actual screenshot from his YouTube channel called Lady Babylon. And he said, "I am Dr. Ammon, recently investigated by the Catholic Church for demon possession and portal opening on the grounds of Catholic University campus. While a professor of classical languages, this channel is dedicated to the Queen of many names, and her cup is the abominations. Together we will expose the sacred mysteries found in our ancient text, and we will uncover the apocalypse. Face first, awake and unafraid as always," and he signs it, "Hail Satan." And I don't think people understand the gravity of with these people yelling that the Hail Satan thing, but it's pretty intense. Because when you say you're a Satanist, what you're actually saying is that you worship a person whose proper name is a supreme evil spirit and the adversary of humanity. In Christianity, Old English, Satan was from the Latin, and it can also, Satin literally means Satan too. Most people don't know that. But it means adversary one who plots against another. So somebody that plots against somebody. It also means to show enmity, or to oppose, or to plot against. One who opposes, obstructs, or acts as an adversary. They just block you for any reason. So when somebody says they are getting involved in this, you know immediately that it's something bad. Okay. This is the muse that he says that he hears from, that tells him stuff when he's reading the text and all. Her name is Medea. He's even got it tattooed on his head, on the side of his head. In Greek mythology, Medea is the daughter of King Eetes of Cloclis. I hope I say that right. In the myth, Jason and the Aeronauts, she aids Jason in the search for the Golden Fleece. She later marries, but eventually unalives their children and his other bride, according to some versions of her story. She's known as a great sorceress, depicted as a priestess of the goddess Hecate. She once first appears in Hesiod's Theagon around 700 BC, and is best known in Euripides' tragedy Medea. But she's something else. That the one that he counts on. That's his deity. Okay. I looked up his name just to see what it meant. Ammon is a masculine name of Egyptian origin and Greek and Latin influence, and it means the hidden one. Um, there's always more than meets the eye. The Greek and Roman form of Ammon is Ammon, and it nods to the Egyptian king of gods and the sun. And Hillman, his last name, um, means the mountainous country, so he'd be the hidden one of the mountainous country. And in an interview, this is how he talks about the muse. He says, I have a cheat. And this is from his own website, by the way, called Sacred Speaks. And somebody is interviewing and says, Ammon, you're not a guy that can be held down. You move fluidly in and out of different time periods and texts that I can't even imagine what it would be like to have read the amount of documents and texts that you have read. It just falls out of you like it's fluid. And this is what he told me. He said, well, I have a cheat. You want to hear my cheat? He said, I'd love to. I can tell your audience, I shouldn't do this because I'm exposing myself. And you're never supposed to expose yourself as a magician. But I have a cheat. I have a muse. And this muse is a unalive girl that I'm able to talk to with the practice handed down from the late Bronze Age. And I'm able to resurrect her in front of my eyes, the spirits of the unalive. And I call them up one by one. So he uses this Medea, to call up dead, unalive spirits. And that's how he says he's got all this information for us on Jesus. And I'm going to tell you here in a minute what he's claiming about Jesus. Okay, that's his website. And I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's like the cube with the circle in the middle. And when you scroll over, there's all kinds of channels you can open up. Here's one of them. This one's called the series. And there's different things down below the series you can read or watch. And this is funny because I'm reading this front page of his, and it says the same thing that Josh was been saying on his channel. It says that on the Son of God Ministries, he's been preaching this every time he's on. People meet the light by traveling into the dark. It's like you have to go into the dark to get the light. See, I don't think these people understand where this stuff is coming from that they're doing at all. It's scary. It's very scary. Okay, this is, his name is Dr. D.C. AMMON HILLMAN. He earned his MS in bacteriology and a PhD in classics from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where he specialized in ancient Greek and Roman medicine and pharmacy. His first book, The Chemical Muse, was published with the St. Martin Press immediately after his dissertation committee forced him to delete the references to recreational drugs or recreational pharmaceuticals or whatever. I don't know what the appropriate word is. I hope they don't bust me on this. From his thesis. Dr. Hillman also wrote Original Sin, a work about the use of the RX-induced child grape. And I'm using code words here, which is code word for unwanted advances. In early Christian rituals. The publication of The Chemical Muse inspired the production of a lengthy History Channel documentary on the history of RX use in the ancient world. After the official inquiry by the Catholic Church into the allegations of demon possession, Dr. Hillman was fired from St. Mary's University by Minnesota. He continues to write about the use of RXs in the ancient mystery cults and tutors ancient Greek online. And he has a free course in Greek on his Lady Babylon channel. And I checked out a couple of lessons, and I was not impressed. Okay. This is one of his videos on YouTube, Jesus' Secret. And this is a Glasnost informant. He was into Glasnosism, and I think now he is into Satanism. because he's also using the hell Satan now. In Hillman's version of Jesus, a guy who hangs around with his 12 young male acolytes in passage in the teen and preteen boys for the purpose related to their ritual abilities and their occult abilities. He codes this in a predatory way, which is a bit strange since there's no specific evidence for this. The only evidence he gives is Jesus in Gethsemane in the garden at 4 o'clock in the morning with a male child, which he says is young. He uses a Greek word for medicated bandage, which appears in the passage, he says, and he used it to describe its translating as a linen cloth. And this is a kind of bandage that someone who recently had been had some kind of something done to them might wear. Thus, he implies it's due to Jesus having utilized certain things from the young male in a substance that's implicated in the pursuit of success and a ritual induction that he was involved in at the time. So he is actually accusing Jesus of improper conduct with a young male in the garden. That's what, and this is the video that's upset so many people. And it's called, Why Is There a Naked Boy in Mark 14, AMMON HILLMAN? And it's on the Glassnose Informants channel if you want to watch the whole thing. Okay. That pretty much says the same stuff because that was two different sites I got information from. And this is interesting. I was watching this. I watched several of his things just to get a feel for what he's like and what he's pushing. And this is in that same video. And it's at time marker 1.31, Dr. Hillman said he will not discuss Paul's involvement in the New Testament because he's under contract with the devil. I thought, what the heck? He cannot discuss Paul. That's what he told the guy from Glassnose Informant. I caught that. I was like, wow. Okay. All right, we're going to talk about the piece of cloth first. Okay, we see it in several different passages in here. It's in Luke 19:20, John 11:44, John 20:7, and Acts 19:12. And it's called a Sharana or Sidon. Okay, they've got the long version and then they got the short version. Okay, one of this, no, there's two different things. I'm sorry, I'm messing up here. The Sidon is considered a burial cloth, and the Shrouderon is a facial covering for burial, and he says that it's for pharmaceuticals, for putting RX on there and administering RXs to somebody. I hope everybody's familiar with what I'm talking about when I say RX. Just like you go to the pharmacy and pick up for you when you're sick. That's what I'm talking about. I hate I have to talk in code, but I know that they have real strict rules on here about talking about certain things. And he gets into this Mark 14:51, and there followed him a certain young man having a linen cloth cast about his naked body, and the young man lay a hold of him, and he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. We have this same thing in John 11:44, and he that was unalive came forth bound hand and foot from the grave clothes, and his face was bound about with the same sharandan or napkin, and Jesus said unto them, Loosen him and let him go. So the boy in the garden is wearing the same stuff as Lazarus when he come out of the tomb. Is what I'm getting at. And I find that very, very interesting. Okay. I find it super, super interesting. In fact, um, when we look at Luke 19, I'm going to read this to y'all. Let me scoot this back so I can get up closer to it. Because this is quite a few verses, but I want you to see it in context. Luke 19:11. And while they were hearing these things, and having added a spake smile because of him being nigh unto Jerusalem, and they're thinking that the reign of God is about presently to be made manifest. So they're thinking that the reign of God is coming when they're headed to Jerusalem. He said to them, therefore, a certain man of birth went to a far country to take himself a kingdom, and to return. And having called 10 servants of his own, he gave them 10 pounds. And he said unto them, do business till I come. And the citizens were hating him, and they did send an embassy after him, saying, we do not wish the one to reign over us. And it came to pass on his coming back, having taken the kingdom, that he commanded the servants to be called to him, to whom he gave the money, that he might know what any one had done in business. And the first one came to him, saying, sir, thy pound did gain thee 10 pounds. And he said to them, well done, good servant, because in a very little thou dost become faithful, being having authority over 10 cities. And the second came to him, sir, thy pound made 5 pounds. And he also said to this one, and thou over 5 cities. And another came to him and said, sir, that pound I had lying away in a napkin. That napkin is the same word for that burial face cloth. Exact same words in Greek. For I was afraid of thee, because thou art a austere man, and thou takest up what thou did not lay down, and thou reaps what thou didn't sow. And he said to them, out of the mouth I will judge thee, evil servant. Thou knewest that I am an austere man, taking up what I did not lay down, and reaping what I did not sow. And therefore dost thou not give the money to the bank, and I, having come with interest, might have received it. And to those standing there he said, take from him the pound, and give to him having 10 pounds. And they said, sir, he has 10 pounds. And I say unto you, that every one having shall be given, and from him having, he also what he hath shall be taken from him. But those my enemies, who did not wish me to reign over them, bring them hither, and unalive them before me. So we can imagine who this is. Alright, now interesting enough, this same word leads us to Acts 19. Here we've had the parable of the 10 mice, and this is a horrendous person over these men. The one that had very little and was scared to do anything with it because he was such a mean master, ended up having what he even had taken away from him. Okay, well, when we go to Acts 19, your Jewish Skivas, that's him. It's like, mighty works also, not common, was God working through the hands of Paul, so that even the ailing were brought to him in their body handkerchiefs, same word, it's a facial covering, our aprons, and their sickness departed from them, and the evil spirits also went forth from them. And then certain Sceva, wandering exorcists of the Jew, took upon themselves the name over those who have the evil spirits, and the name of the Lord Jesus, saying, we adjure you to swear an oath by the Jesus whom Paul hath taught. So the one that Jesus is warning us about in the parable was Paul and them in Acts 19, and what they were going to do. this blew my mind when I put that connection together. I was like, wow. Okay. Now, when we get to John 20, this is the part where they're talking about this being an evil piece of cloth. It's like John 22. As she runs, therefore, coming to Simon Peter and unto the other disciple whom Jesus was loving, and said to them, They took away our Lord out of the tomb, and we have known where they have laid him. And Peter therefore went forth, and the other disciple were coming to the tomb. The two were running together. You have to pay attention to what John's saying here. And the other disciple did run forward more quickly than Peter, and came first to the tomb. And then having stooped down, he saw the cloth, the linen cloth, lying, yet he entered not, he didn't go in. So the other disciple whom Jesus was loving did not go into the tomb, okay? But Simon Peter therefore come, following him, and he entered the tomb. And behold, the linen cloths were lying there. The napkin was upon his head, and not lying with the linen clothes, but apart, having been folded up in one place. So the one that was on the head or the face had been laying in a separate place. Then therefore entered the other disciple, who came in first unto the tomb, and he saw and did believe. For not yet did they know the writing, that it behooved them out of the dead to raise, out of the unalive to raise again. And the disciples therefore went away again unto their own friends. So now we're getting a little history on this thing, that it's in the grave afterwards. So did it fall off the young man and it's in there? You know, this is kind of strange. I hope my dog's snoring. And can y'all hear my dog snoring? She started snoring while I was reading.
We can't hear it, no.
Okay, she's just cutting the edge. She's sleeping hard.
Or mine.
Okay. Well, we get down into Mark, and this is where he's in the Gethsemane. And you know where I pointed out that he uses the same term they use for Barabbas? Do you come at me like I'm a robber? You know, when I was in the synagogues and teaching all the time, you know, remember those verses I was telling y'all about in that video on Barabbas? Well, the same word is used here in Mark, and it's like, it's, let's see, let me see if I can blow that up some more so y'all can see it better. Hopefully I'll be able to see that. I want to make sure I get these cards posted, though, because I want everybody to be able to see this. It's Strong's number 3027. And there are two different spellings. Okay, when you go and look, he's given everybody the spelling for a predator. And it's different than the spelling that's in the New Testament. And the one for the predator is not in there at all. It's nowhere to be found. Okay, it's like L-E-S-T-E-S. It's the one that's in the scripture. Okay, now the one he's giving, or he's saying is there, is the one for predator, and it's L-E-I-S-T-E-S. So it has an iota or an I in there. So it is a totally different word. And I took and threw it in about 6 or 7, maybe 8 different translators. And every time I got the same result. Every time. Not one time did I get a different result. Then I go to the that ancient dictionary site, and the two, and I pull them up side by side, and I get the same thing. Even the ancient dictionary said it was the same thing. So he is flat out lying. And you can't tell me that he's got a PhD in Greek and he don't know the difference between the two words. I don't get that. This had to be intentional. I'm going to show you more too. There's more to it than even that. Because we're going to talk about the napkin and the shroud thing. Okay, maybe y'all can see that one better. Because I've got them spelled out there. It's just real hard to see. Can you see the two there? Because I put the iota, in red on the word on the right, and it's like they're two separate words. One means robber or thief, and the other one means predator. And the one that means predator would be like a child trafficker. So that's why he's making a big deal out of this. He's trying to claim that about Jesus. And this is the verse, and I checked every one of them, and I kept getting robber. I checked, it's in, it's 1, 2, 3 different verses, and I got Robert on every one of them. The one with the iota is not in there. And if it don't have the iota, according to the ancient dictionary, it's not the right word for predator. Okay, and I go here and check it at Wiki, and I got the same thing under their ancient Greek. I checked 429 BC of Apidus, and I got the same thing. It was translated as robbers. Apidus the king, that's 121. It was translated twice as robbers. And then Apidus the king in 535, I got the same thing. And I'm sorry, my pronunciation is terrible on the Greek. I can read it, but I cannot pronounce it very well. I went to Thayer's lexicon. I got the same thing. It's a robber or plunderer. You go to Strong's, you get the same thing. You go to Munt's dictionary, you get the same thing. And it said it could be a bandit also in Munt's. Here's one of the old. This is another old dictionary I went to. This is Bailey Anthony, 1935, from Paris. And this is a famous one. It's a French dictionary. They've got the same thing. So I just don't know how these scholars didn't call him on this, especially like Kip. I mean, Kip's the one that found that the Bible Museum had bought those fake Dead Sea Scrolls. They paid a couple of million for those. Unless Kip just didn't want to find this, but he's done videos about Ammon. I don't know why he didn't call him on this. Now this is where I checked other. This is another source. This is Perseus's Tufts Education, and that's where you can read like all the stuff on Tacitus and Josephus, and all the ancient writings almost are on that website. And they had the same thing. And I posted this to the guy's video too. This is where I posted it to AMMON HILLMAN himself. I tried to call him out himself and get him to acknowledge that he made a mistake. Of course, he's not going to. He deleted it. He pulled down my post. I emailed him also. He hasn't answered any emails. I sent him several emails. Because this is sucking people in. This is a screenshot, just in case it disappears. That's a screenshot from that Perseus I was telling y'all about. And it's a Greek word study tool. You can put in any Greek word and it'll pop it up. And for each one, I got the same thing that the one with the I, it says to be carried off as booty, like the person actually being taken. Okay, and the other one shows as robber or pirate. Here's another one. This is the one from Wiki, and they have references on theirs too. But I did all these screenshots because every time I show something like this and I go back to show it to somebody, it's gone after I do a video. This is academia. I checked it there. I got the same thing. And that's the academic dictionaries and encyclopedia search. And every time I got the same results. Okay, this is where I threw it in Google Translate. I got the same thing, whether I reversed it from English to Greek or from Greek to English. Okay. This is from the church historian Eusebius. And this mentions the wearing of the linen garments, but it didn't really have anything that helped me that much on it. Okay. Thayer's, when it talks about that cloth, Thayer's defined it as a linen cloth, fine and costly, and also a shroud that bodies of the dead were wrapped in. And they said it was used loosely when they buried him. It was put around loosely on a naked body. So that would make a reason why when they tried to grab him, it fell off. Okay. That's just comments. What happened to my other part here? Darn, I had the part on the shroud. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, I was about to freak. I thought I'd lost part of the presentation. All right. That was something else I was looking at. This is coming from my notes, guys, so it's not as well put together as... Okay, this is the two verses that he brings up in the actual video itself. It's Mark 14:51 and Mark 14:52. And I checked every word, and the word for shroud, and I'm going to call all these scholars out right now because this was really dumb, man. I can't believe they didn't put this connection together. If you were a linguist, you should have put this together real fast. It's kept saying etymology for that shroud was unknown. And it's Greek written out, but it spells the Latin word for shroud. Just like the Shroud of Turin. I'm like, don't tell me I don't know what that is. I mean, you have all these things about what kind of cloth was it. It's right there in front of her face. I mean, it's a Sedona. And a Sedona is a burial shroud. It's just like the Shroud of Turin. It's a Latin word for burial shroud. But they've got it down as a fine linen cloth or a muslin or a sheet or a veil or a linen. They got it down as all... There's just no way around it. So I'll call them all out on that one. They might not like me on it, but I'm going to call them. There's the article. See, it's even spelled as identical to the Shroud of Turin. Because it is a sacra sedona. And sacra means holy shroud. It's the word for shroud. And when you look at... Now, Thayer's got the closest, because Thayer said that it could be the thing they wrapped the bodies in, and that it was worn loosely over the naked body when they buried them. So they had the closest description, but they still had it as a fine linen cloth also. And I wanted to point this out because I think this is interesting too. Because I think that this is what John was hinting at could happen when they took Jesus in. Because in John 12:9, when the large crowd of the Jews learned that Jesus was there, they came, not only on account of him, but also because they wanted to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from being unalive. Okay? And the chief priests made plans to put Lazarus to unalivement, as well as, it says, because on account of the many things the Jews were going to go away with and believe in Jesus. So they had planned on doing away with both of them. And I think probably, now this is theory, because I cannot prove it, but since it's the same shroud type set up, the same face thing and everything, and they try to grab the man in the garden, the young man in the garden, and it falls off his body. I think that Jesus raised him twice. And this was the second time because they had unalived him and he brought him back. Now that's my theory. A lot of people have weighed in on this online. There's a lot of videos on this, but that's my theory. Because it says in Mark 14:50, and they all forsook him and fled, and there followed a certain young man having a Sidon burial cloth on, cast about his naked body, and the young men laid hold of him, and he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. And they led Jesus away to the high priest, and with him assembled were all the chief priests and the elders. And Peter followed him, and I think Peter's the same one that had the cloths, followed them afar off, even unto the palace of the high priest. And he sat with the servants warming himself in the fire in the palace. So Peter was a high priest, and I told you he's Cleopas, one and the same. The one that said it was better for one to unalive than the whole nation to go under. That's Peter. That's just a different name for his name, a different language. That's how they scrambled all this. They switched the language. I found everything in the New Testament from Latin, French, Greek, and Hebrew. 4 different languages I found so far. And what they do is they'll spell a word out using the Greek letters, but it's from like Latin, or it's from Spanish, or it's from French, or, you know. And let's see. All right. He maintains too that the word for the young boy meant that these were children that he had. He was being inappropriate with children. There's no way, guys. Logically, when you look at the stories, it's like in Matthew 8:14, and when Jesus had come into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laying there sick. He wasn't a child. He was not a little. These were not little bitty boys. I mean, then you've got Matthew 17:24, and when they had come to Capernaum, they received tribute money and came to Peter and said, "Doth your master pay tribute?" And now, Jesus instructs Peter to catch a fish, and in the mouth there'll be a coin to give for the temple tax. You had to be, you couldn't do that. They didn't do that unless you were over 20. So these were not little children. Here goes the puzzle thing. Sorry about that, guys. They're trying to turn me off. Okay. I'm sorry, I have to pick up the tab to do it because I can't enough. And let's see, what else did I find on that? Oh, yeah. And, they were tax collectors and everything. He was eating with them. I mean, in their homes and stuff. These were not children. Children don't do tax collecting. But to make his theory all work, he has to change every word. And he'll go down and I watched him do these little things like this right here. And he'll go down and find the most obscure definition he could find and use that one at the bottom. No, that's something else. Okay, here is the word for the young, where it says young man. And when I looked at the ancient Greek dictionary, it says young man or youth. A young man could be 20, And it also can be indicate a servant. I checked it here, and both of those gave the same thing. And I thought I had another one in here. Nope. No, maybe I didn't put the other one in here. But I checked it also on that other big Greek site, that Greek dictionary I was showing y'all. But that's basically, I just wanted to prove to show y'all that he's grabbing words and he's changing the meaning, and he's leading a lot of people down the wrong path doing it. And he's not being honest. Of course, he's open about who he's serving, you know. So, but that's basically, if y'all want to talk now, we can. I just wanted to share that with y'all because I didn't see any other scholars coming up against him with those words, and they should have, because it's real easy to find that.
So our question is, you saying that you said you thought that Peter was the guy with the cloth?
Yeah, he was the only one that went in the tomb first, and the cloth was laying there. And was
So
that
he
the cloth that they picked up out in the garden off the naked guy, or was it that fell off the guy, or was it actually? That's another question now.
Yeah. And I was gonna say because so he took the clothes off and then he ran away, but then he stopped running away and like put on some other clothes and started following.
I don't
I
know.
know they did specify that he was warming himself after he got to.
Yep.
So, but wouldn't people be like, "Yo, what are you doing in here naked?" You know?
Yeah, it couldn't have been him that ran away naked. I figured Peter picked up the cloth and because the boy ran away without the cloth, and then Peter followed as a distance and went into the palace with them. But I don't know who. I think that was Lazarus that was in the garden with him, because John mentions that they intended to unalive both of them. And if that was a burial cloth, then, like it says, then he could have possibly have brought him back again.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is very. I mean, that's the only other person they mention that they're going to unalive. You know,
Yeah.
they tried to grab him, but they didn't get him. But if he'd just been, if he'd just been raised up again, he would have had on that same garb that he had on, you know, the first time.
True.
Does that make any sense to y'all? I mean,
It does.
I'm going to study it out even more. I found that today when I was reading this. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I think Peter, he really does act like the Satan though, because then he followed behind and everything, but then he suggested that one be unalive for the nation, and like he put like the thought in their head, kind of like how the serpent in the garden put the thought in Eve's head, kind of.
Yeah.
And if the serpent is the devil, and Peter is supposed to be the devil.
Hey, Donald.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Donald.
Hello.
How you doing, Donald?
Hey, Tim. Okay, this I watched that video too when you posted it earlier today. I just got really bad vibes listening to it while I was driving working. Just the whole thing. It just felt like they were definitely just pushing Jesus into that position. They were putting him there into that whole scenario that they wanted.
Oh, yeah, she's not a great person either. But it's like, at least she did come out with some proof about it, you know. But I think this needed to come from somebody that's a believer too, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so I got some questions. It's probably off topic, but this is my first time coming live, so I hope it's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So, listening to the live the other day about like the new age and stuff like that, where would you say is it okay for astrology? Are we okay? I'm a Pisces, and I I know from the past, like it's like I have this cusp, they call it, where Aries. Everybody that's a Pisces that's born earlier in the month, they're basically called a pushover. That's not me. I'm not. So that's where they tell you, oh, the Aries. That's why you have. I'm not a pushover.
Yes, I think that's kind of
And
stuff that's a construct of this world, and it's Yahweh's world. It's like I think that it's something that's for here, but we don't have to fit in that pattern. Because once we believe in Jesus, we're not trying to conform to their way of doing things, or what they
okay.
think.
So
Does that make
yeah.
sense?
So the that's where I was. That's how I was taking what you were saying the other day about your experience in Wicca and all that. So what about Daniel and the Magi?
Um, I have a hard time with the Old Testament now after I've seen all this stuff that I've been researching. I don't know how much of it we can trust because Yahweh says he sent a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. So how much of that are we supposed to trust? I mean, I know that they keep trying to make it happen over and over again, but it's like I don't trust it.
I think he paused. I don't know, Donald, if you realize it, but when you exit out of,
Phone call
there you
on my
go.
phone.
There you go.
Could he hear my
I'll just,
answer?
yeah, so you ain't got to repeat it. I'll catch it
Okay.
later. That way, um, uh, I'm so just grateful for this panel, everybody here. Just real quick, I got into Hebrew roots also, and when I started talking to the Father, it happened to be just before Pesach 1 year. So artists, so I want to say maybe 4 to 5 years back now, and when I started questioning Paul, and that's when I first found you with the stuff that you were sharing about Paul, and thank goodness, because that was it for me, because it was really starting to ruin my marriage, ruin my relationship with everybody. That up to that point, I was basically a spiritual leader for my 4 grown children, and I'm the oldest of 8. So for my siblings, and I was basically ready to just throw them all away for the Hebrew roots type.
Oh, bless your heart. Yeah. I didn't go well with me either when I went into Hebrew roots. Everybody kind of ostracized from me, didn't want to talk to me anymore. And it it's something else.
And I know there's, just like you said a little bit earlier, the reason why I was searching at that time just for Pesach was I just kept on understanding for me that I was done with eating meat. And it's been before the pandemic happened that I stopped. And so for me, it's done is I've been healthier as as I have ever been. Driving truck 12 hours a day, and I just feel really good every day eating more fruits and vegetables. That's all I can tell you guys. And I have friends that are my age and guys that are younger, and I try to give them the nudge, the same thing. And all I can tell them all is I'm 58 and I don't take no medications, and they all do, one way or another. And so
Yeah, I've told them before I don't eat meat either, but I didn't do it for that reason. I grew up on a farm, and my grandmother tried to teach me how to unalive chickens,
yeah.
and it upset me, and I just quit. It's like, because it was like I couldn't do it.
You shared Static in the Attic a while back, and I listened to him the other day, and one of the things he said was about they used to teach us Hebrew and Latin, and they no longer do that. And you just was speaking on that too. If we don't know any of that stuff, we're going to be steered most likely in the wrong direction.
I'm glad that I studied on it. I mean, I'm no expert or anything. I'm constantly learning on it, but it's like I did the Hebrew first, and then I went back and started studying the Greek. And I like the Greek to Greek because then I can compare things from the Old Testament to the New. But a lot easier. It's real interesting. Like, I didn't know that this was considered the abyss in Genesis. It's like I had no clue until I started doing the Greek. Or I wouldn't have tied that in either in John 8, where he said, you're of the devil, and he was an unaliver from the beginning and a liar and all that. And when the word for beginning, when I looked at it then, I was like, oh, that's Genesis, you know? So it made me
Mhm.
distrust the Old Testament
The
even more.
Testament, yeah,
Yeah.
even more. Um, this TikTok and all this is all new to me too. So I made had comments before under my other name for on Facebook, whatever, and for uh, YouTube. But I had read James the Just, brother of Jesus, by Robert Eisenman. So I'm the one that you might have seen that said that a couple times. And
That is a thick book.
oh man.
I read a lot of it, but I haven't read the whole thing. That is
Well,
one of the thickest
thankfully,
books I
I was
have.
able to also listen to it audibly when I'm in the truck again.
Oh, yeah, that helps. That helps a
Yes.
lot.
And then the other book was uh, the book of Nazarene with Jesus and his disciples, which was the one supposed to be a testimony from basically from Clement.
I read that one too. Yeah.
And the one I read was done by Jackson Snyder, and so
Oh, okay. I know Jackson.
and um, this the I guess it was Simon Magus that they tried to make look like the bad guy in there, and also in uh, and that was it for me after I read that book. For me, that was it for with Paul. I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful for you guys, and there's a lot of people I've heard speak, and over the over the times that I've caught back up with you because a new phone and
Well,
everything,
sister, no lunch before.
I kind of
I
lost
didn't have to worry about,
lost the your your page on Facebook, and then I found it again.
Oh, good, good.
But, yeah, so and now you're doing live, so that's even better. But like Jen, she asks a lot of good questions, and I like the fact that nobody is getting crucified for asking questions that just pop up, because that's how I am sometimes. I the way I feel is I don't have time, to if it pops up in my head, I'm just gonna ask it, unless it's already been asked or something.
Oh yeah, you're welcome to ask anything here.
And so, yeah, I'm thankful for that, for you guys all, and everybody. I haven't heard anything. I think it was from Nate lately. He's really gentle with everybody, and so yeah, I just
Nate's working on I think trying to get his girlfriend from the UK to the United States,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and
Okay,
he's
that's
he's
what it
been
was.
working a
Mhm.
hefty schedule. I know. So he hasn't been on near like he used to. He comes in the chat sometimes, but he's not doing the live panels right now.
Okay. Okay. All right, I have one more.
Okay.
I want to call it like a half truth, like you said, and I heard Tim say, uh, like I believe it's said by Paul in the New Testament, but this is a verse that I would say to my kids when they would have like nightmares and stuff, and this is something still to this day they tell me, they remember me doing this with them. But it's the parts that I remember. The part of it that I remember is, for greater is He who is in you than he who is in the world.
I thought about that today when I was recording that. I was like, I don't want to show too much of that of him, but I wanted people to see what his character's like, And I was like, don't worry about it, because he's, we've got greater than that inside of us, so we don't have to be scared.
Right, and I would tell, that's why I would try to tell them, whatever's in the world, what's in you is greater than that. And so whenever they had their nightmares or whatever it was, this is what I would say to them. So yeah, I was like, kind of a half truth maybe there. Maybe that's where.
And this guy thinks they're bringing on the apocalypse too. He really and he puts it on everything. The apocalypse is beginning.
Is that a fear thing, you think, that he's trying to instill in people?
I'm sure it is.
I believe him.
Okay, I'll get out so somebody else can have some time. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing
hopefully
everything. We really appreciate it.
And I've spoke with Tim before, and I'm here in Southwest Florida, and so here, guys, when we're talking about the hurricanes and everything, and crazy! I'll tell you one more thing. When I got back listening to you, I went around the house before we evacuated, and I put Abba on all four corners of my house before I left. And sorry if I'm getting a little choked up, but so my wife, who isn't as spiritual, and she sometimes thinks I go too far out for her, she came up to me before we left the house, and she told me, make sure you do that thing where you put Abba on the house. And I said, okay. And we still got the house. It's it's a manufactured home, you know.
Man,
So,
that's awesome. That is awesome.
but okay, I love you all, and thank you for your time, and thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you
Thanks,
for being
Donald.
here. We love you, brother.
You know,
We love you too.
I love Donald.
Elise had come up, but then she dropped. I don't know if she had a question.
It sounded like she accidentally came up
You think so?
by the sound of her background noise. Yeah.
I muted her just because of the background noise. But Elise, if you're there and you have questions and you did want to come up, come on back.
I do have the YouTube already pulled up as well. If no one has questions in the comments.
You got the questions?
Yeah, locked and loaded.
You
That's
can't
good because
tag
I didn't
team
get
with-
to read all of them today.
I didn't either. You didn't get to. And Leon and Lynn's not here to tag team with you, brother.
I know, man. It's messed
How
up.
do I do this?
Free Lynn. Already got a Free Lynn t-shirt.
We're gonna start wearing Free Lynn t-shirts. Yep.
You got
We
the
know you're there,
orange
Lynn.
jumpsuit on. But your hair look perfect though. All right. The first one is SP Praying Mom. She said Matthew 25:31 through 46 starts out with the Son of Man. So it is not Jesus, the Son of our Heavenly Father, that it is referring to. It is all about Christ and Yahweh's judgment. I personally have had a near-death experience, and I was even leaving behind my newborn son after birth when they couldn't stop hemorrhaging. When she says they, but I think she means I. But when they couldn't stop hemorrhaging, and I lost so much blood that I even bled out all the numbing injection for the C-section and could feel everything for what seemed to be about 2 minutes. However, when I started to leave here, it was immediately beyond peace that I was engulfed in. It wasn't that I felt better. Instead, it was as if nothing bad had ever happened. Just 3 minutes before, I don't know that actual length of time, just what it seemed like. I had felt the best feeling in my whole life of hearing my firstborn's first cry, which is the one moment that if I had to choose just one to remember in my lifetime, is the moment that I would choose. The overwhelming pure love of hearing my child's first sound he made. But yet, as I quickly faded away with everyone yelling at me to breathe, all I could think was, why would anyone want to breathe? I even had the awareness that I was leaving the best thing that ever happened to me, my firstborn baby, and yet even that did not hurt. I somehow knew he was going to be okay without me, and all the pain I had experienced throughout my lifetimes was as if it never happened. It was beyond any peace I have ever experienced in my life. Of course, I'm here to tell the story, so I was revived, but ever since then, I have known the truth of where we go when we leave this world. I still hold that truth to this day, 35 years later. With that said, I also know how Jesus Barabbas, son of our Heavenly Father, said that he would go after the one sheep. He also said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He also said to pray for our enemy. Love those who hate us. Forgive those who use us. He is the one who forgives the prodigal son. I personally see Jesus as trying to show us that we will indeed be set free and renewed from this world when our time is done here in this world. But at the same time, trying to tell us to love and forgive while we are here, because that is what he does for everyone when we leave here. And he wants us to do unto each other as he will do unto us in eternity. There are those here in this world that have been so deeply blinded that they have no idea of what they are and what they are doing. It's like they are in a trance or controlled that we might even see as evil, but that just means they will be even more grateful when they are healed by our Heavenly Father's pure love in eternity. They will be like the babes seeing for the first time. I am fully convinced that we will be pleasantly surprised as to who we see in eternity and how different they are in our Heavenly Father's pure love. I am not joined with any groups or churches. I have just been studying independently and constantly lean into Jesus to listen to his pure love. He sent us the Comforter so that we could endure and know the peace that surpasses all understanding in all circumstances until we go to our true home, where our Heavenly Father is. Sorry this is so long, but I hope it makes a little bit of sense and is somehow an encouragement. You don't have to read this on the video because I am shy and never speak this much, but I couldn't help myself and wanted to be of encouragement. And you were.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad she shared that. That is nice.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Wow.
Lynn, what you saying old Tim for? That was beautiful though. And it does remind me of, while I was reading, it reminded me of a couple verses actually. And it was long, so I forgot them. So I'm so sorry. But especially in the beginning, I wish I knew. It's like I'll have to read it over again. But yeah, definitely beautiful though. And true as well.
Absolutely.
I think about that sometimes, like, you know, about like if something happened to me, especially because of my beliefs or something like that, what I'll be leaving behind here and stuff. But it's encouraging what you said, because she said that, you know, she knew everything was just going to be okay. She knew her child was going to be okay. And we all know that too. And it's just like we forget that sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We forget that we know everything going to be, that Father is in control in the end.
Yeah,
You know?
most people that I helped through that, it was like the two things they worry about is where they're going and who they're leaving behind, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they know it's coming. I'm talking about people that know it's coming, you know?
You witnessed a lot of that when you were a nurse, I know, because
Oh, yeah.
you did quite a bit on here, you know. So you probably have a million testimonies that you could share with us from people.
You okay over there, artist?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. We're going to go to the next one. Thank you for that, SP Praying Mom. And don't ever feel too shy to comment. We love it.
Come on over to TikTok and join the lives.
Yeah.
Ask
This one's from a reality hijack. Oh, that's Lee, isn't it?
I think so.
Okay. I was going to comment on the last video, but I didn't post. I resonated a lot with the teaching on walking in the Spirit. I'm still early on in all this and still struggling with my anger for the world and its ways. I think Faye mentioned the same part that really hit for me on the explanation of Antichrist in Matthew 24. Wasn't sure how we reconciled it. At least I think that's what Faye meant. So there's some replies here. Oh, look at that. Lynn, all the way from a detention. All right. She said, "Hey, Lee, we will bring it up just for clarifications. Hopefully we get your comment correctly. You should join us tonight." Okay, I do, however, know the time zones are so off, like 6 hours. Yeah, it is though. Let me see.
Yeah, he's 6 hours ahead of us, so
Yeah, and he's basically saying it's like midnight for him.
it's in the morning over there.
I guess my thoughts on his initial comment was about the walking in the Spirit. Let me see. Oh, he's still early and struggling with his anger for the world. Man, I'm still doing that. You know, just at work. You know, people are so, and the best word to use, especially on here, is lazy-minded. And I'm not a fan of it, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like the whole world is that way, which is help keeping them in their state of indoctrination. You know, and I blame the phones. Sound like an old man. I blame the technology because it's doing all the thinking for people. You know.
Yep, it sure is.
That's why they want a cell phone in everybody's hands. It's a big distraction, you know,
That's right.
especially the young people, you know.
Yeah. So like they don't want your brain exercise. Everybody's brain is like mush. It's like,
They want
it's like a flabby arm.
they want
So
everybody to
big
have like
muscle.
20-second attention spans, which is what this platform really is. It's like 30 seconds swipe, 30 seconds swipe. Nobody, people can't concentrate or keep their attention on anything.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, because just yesterday or today, I'm talking with, and I got sucked into it. Like I didn't even want this. I'm just working, but Dan was there, and there's a guy that comes in, a regular, and he overhears some of the conversations me and Dan are having. And although he knows absolutely nothing about the Bible, I'm talking about absolutely nothing. This man wants to speak as if he has something to say, as if he has like some kind of like knowledge, and that so like he has credibility. And like I just find it laughable that Dan is eating it up. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like Dan's coming along a little bit. You're working on them.
Yeah, I need a 10-year contract on that one. It's gonna take time, but it is working a little bit. He's starting to get it. But let's get this other comment here. I am Huckleberry says, just so you know that all of that came from my comforter. And I'm thinking that he was talking about them. I think we disagreed with something he said on the last live.
That kind of sounds like it.
Maybe. He had a lot of comments on the last live, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, dang, sure. I know if Elaine here, she would be like, "Yep, you got to go through all of them." All right, we're gonna go through all these replies here. Elizabeth said, "I would just say that I understand you because I have had supernatural stuff happen to me since I was very young. I'm surrounded by people I don't trust while taking care of my dying mother, and they have done things to hasten her death. But what I found out is the same thing that happened when I was younger, and I was looking into the child. Damn, can I say that? Sacrifice, okay? And the abuse in the churches. I had a guy tell me a couple of months ago, listen, I've seen some of your testimony on different channels, and all of this stuff cannot have happened to you. You must be a troll. And the funny thing is, I haven't even told people half of the crazy things that have happened to me. So I get where you're coming from. But what we can do is get the truth in this. Get the truth, and this channel is the truth, and it is giving me a lot of peace. And now I'm just trying to soak it up and keep my mouth shut. There are people out there that understand this stuff is real, but man, they are few and far between. Let me see. And then Ellen says, I like you, have had so much happen to me and to my family growing up. I've been told by people they have a hard time believing so much can happen to one person or to one family. I'm trying to understand I am Huckleberry, but he comes across to us in his comments as accusatory and suspicious. He comes across as he thinks we all came from churches. He comes across like if we don't know every scripture, that we cannot know truth or our Heavenly Father. I can tell you I do know Father, not because I'm a scholar in the Bible, but because I absolutely know He has walked with me my whole life, even when I felt I was 100% walking alone. Looking back, I can see Him during those times I thought I was alone. I don't need a church, and I'm good at picking out fake characters. I haven't wanted to give up on I am Huckleberry, as I voiced on the video, but I'm also not going to allow him a platform of condemning us or promoting his full line of thinking. We try to give everyone a voice here, unlike other platforms, channel creators, who stop allowing comments because they become too much. We're trying not to go there. I am Huckleberry. Please tell us what you believe in, simple terms, so we can better understand your stance. We'll try and show you what we believe and why. This is to be a conversation, not a court case. And Huckleberry replied at Elizabeth, oh, wow, come on, he's getting like that? Hold on. He said, if you keep your mouth shut, then people would remain blind to the fruit of the trees. Okay, all right. Have you ever seen that meme with the Stu-ish soldier dressed in uniform? He is sitting behind a desk typing on a computer. The caption read, "This is who you are arguing over the internet." Everybody gets it, but do they really? I don't think so. They think it's just 0.02% that are the issue, when it's all three of the Abrahamic faiths and plenty more. I didn't choose this subject, it was chosen for me. All I did was make it my second most prayed prayer starting 31 years ago next month. All right, I'm gonna cut in here real quick so I don't forget.
Okay.
One, I hate the whole, oh, I've been praying about it 31 years, therefore, everyone can say that. Two, we know that all the Abrahamic faiths are all basically Yahweh worship. So you're kind of showing us that you don't understand our stance, Huckleberry. Just saying. But okay, I'll keep going. And hold on, let me look at the comments here, make sure I'm not. Okay. All right, so, and then he says, the devil has weighed our shoulders down with saving the world. We spend so much time dealing with the ones who cannot, John 8:43, hear. We need to stop having the ones who cannot hear from stealing our joy. We need to stop feeling as if we need to save them because they can't be saved. He who hears the words of God is of God. Okay. Well, you quoted that, but then you didn't put the verse. It's our love is to, if you're walking by and someone's hanging from a cliff, it takes love to pull them up. If someone's not understanding, it takes love to keep trying. That's all I got to say. I hope you understand that, Huckleberry.
I think everybody can be saved. It's like, I really do. I think everybody can change if they want to. It's up to the individual.
Yeah. And it's up to us to keep trying to water that seed or keep dropping new seeds if one of them get tangled up by thorns, But I'll keep going. We're almost done with this one. Let me see. And he who can't isn't. It's because they are nothing more than weeds, literal clones of Yahweh. So many of them that Jesus had to tell us that wide is the path to destruction, which was, and will always be the devil. When they turn to the dust, if you can actually believe Yahweh on that one, their spirit, he said, returns right back to him. They were him this whole entire time. So, I was once in one of the Abrahamic religions, and I came out of them. So how come they don't got hope? So I think you're getting a little pompous, Stay humble, Huckleberry. I like to talk about something else other than this, but I think this is very important to acknowledge the Father when it comes to this. The guy giving you guff was a seed whose whole purpose to spread enmity. That's why it took some of us 50 or 60 years to figure it out. They are on every street corner in every city. All they've ever done from day one was hide the true Father. That is their mission. That is their sole purpose. They are the weeds that will be plucked. And that kind of brings me further to my point. Because if the enemy out here working this hard, and then you telling us we should just be giving up, if it's a war, we need to be at least fighting as hard as the enemy. Let me see. Ellen said you might consider it's not us here on this channel suppressing your comments. Mine in response also have been removed. That was her to Huckleberry. You guys all got long comments, man. All right. Let's see. Huckleberry to Ellen. I know. It's not y'all. It's them. It's the ones I've been talking about this whole time. I am one weird cat, Maya, one strange guy, but man, am I lucky. Do you know what I've been paying over repeatedly? Remember when artist says it's good to repeat prayers? They taught it was a bad thing when it was a good thing all along. Maya, I feel it all the way in my bones. I'm going to get my wish. I have been praying till I'm blue in the face. Repeatedly, I have prayed for my Father in heaven to give me a shot of adrenaline and let me help the angels round up these weeds that erase all my replies. I want to personally send them back to the dust and airmail that spirit right back to the devil that they came from. Does that make me weird? My honest opinion, it don't make you of the Father that you want to do that yourself. I understand the frustration, but hopefully the 4 hours ago that you wrote this, hopefully you calmed down and is able to see this. Hopefully the spirit of anger passed you by.
I agree. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. That's what Jesus taught.
Yep. Elizabeth, I'm Huckleberry. That was my thinking too, because ultimately the only thing I have is my testimony, and I found a few people that have had similar experiences, but I'm just always shocked at how few, maybe ultimately that's what was going on. Wait, dang, that's what it was going to be, because I did try, and now people pretend like I don't exist, instead of saying maybe you were kind of right about the ab. Maybe we should have listened. No, they just ignore us, and it has hurt my mom the most. A lot of my comments have been getting erased, so there is something else going on. If I have somebody I think I might could reach, I'll keep. Dang it. Hold on. I'll keep trying, but it's looking pretty grim. Thanks for responding, and just know you're not alone, but we are definitely in the minority. And yes, we are. It's just all about how we deal with our circumstances. I don't think we should give up on some of these people or on any of these people. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think so either.
All this pain that y'all feeling. Remember SP Praying Mom's initial comment in the beginning. How all this stuff is not going to matter. All the fatigue, all the pain, all that stuff is going to be gone. Lynn to Huckleberry. No, it doesn't make you weird at all. You totally understood there. This is going to test you, though. You keep going to the place where you don't seek any punishment for anyone, not even our enemies. That's where I am, and where I think Father wants us. Agreed. I pray their hearts soften, that they return to loving Father. It doesn't matter who, because you and I would pray that for our lost family members. These people, or whatever they are someone's family members as well. If I'm praying for punishment for them, is something praying punishment for my family, whom regardless of what they've done, I love? Did I misunderstand? If I'm praying for punishment for them, is someone praying for punishment for my family? Yeah, okay. Whom regardless of what they've done, she still loves. Yeah, agreed though. That's why Jesus laid it out, It's so easy to start getting away from Jesus with our emotions, but try to remember it in all aspects of your life. Huckleberry says, at Elizabeth, they took my mom out in 3 months after. My so-called family didn't even call me to let me know. I found out a year later by asking the internet for obituaries. What people don't understand about me is what I put here at this time for one reason, the very end. My entire essence is for this very time, to be determined. Yeah, you sound like you're in a dark place because of that now. But again, that stuff not gonna matter when you pass away. To know about something first, who cares? I know that it sucks. It's wrong. But, it happened, and I hate to sound inconsiderate. But the truth is the truth. My dad is in prison. He's been in prison my whole life. 2 weeks before I was born, he was in prison for the rest of his life.
Oh man.
And you know, at first, we tried to maintain a relationship. We would, he would call me, and I would expect his call and talk to him. And then that just started fading, and you know, and it's just, the truth was that he wasn't there, and that I couldn't really get what, I felt like I needed from my dad. And I'm not blaming him for it. I love my dad, but um I guess what I'm trying to say is that hold on. When my dad passed away, like, he could have already passed away, and I probably wouldn't have known, because I haven't been speaking or visiting to him much. Not only that, but he has dementia, and he doesn't even remember me. So, you know, not having that relationship with him and not always speaking to him, I'm always ready to receive some kind of email or some kind of letter in the mail or a call from my mom that he's not here with us anymore. But what does it matter if I know first, second, third, fourth? What does it matter? Let's just go to the next comment.
Thank you for sharing that, Tim.
No problem at all. I think this is the last one. Or is it? There's more replies? Okay. You guys are going at it. Okay. Elizabeth to Huckleberry. So sorry about your mom. I don't know. I've been so surprised at what family members can do to each other, but I still try to be loving and forgiving. At this point, I get joy out of feeding the birds. Sorry. Squirrels, deer, groundhogs, and I'm working on taming a feral cat. Get that kitty. Make time for something that gives you peace. Oh yeah, Jesus say, purify yourselves daily, and I think, like, some of that has to do with just finding your peace every day. Huckleberry replied to Ellen, I feel like a shepherd who watches over the flock. If one of my sheep falls in a ditch, I'm not on some Sabbath. I'm protecting my sheep. I'm protecting them from the Zechariah 11 shepherd who is in the sheep's clothing. Don't worry about me loving my neighbor. Wish me luck to protect his sheep. Well, I worry about you loving your neighbor. He says, my belly is full on 3-week-old eggs and grits. My 3-day-old chicken was a little suspect. I was up till daylight chatting up my comforter, who I've been ignoring. I had doubts he was even there. Nice guy he is. I'm going to observe my holiday like I always do, sleeping it off till it's over. Talk to you later. You need a hug, Huckleberry, man. Wish I can give you one, brother. Lynn to Huckleberry, sorry about your mom. I feel the same about my life. I am put here for this exact time. Elizabeth Flowers to Huckleberry, me too. And Huckleberry to Lynn. And this is the final comment. And it already has a read more on it. Okay, it's not that bad. Don't feel sorry about anyone who passes. They are living it up. When I look behind the veil, I saw their new bodies. They have bodies in like a spirit form. I don't know what it's like in the heavens, but their bodies pass right through a wall. Wherever their mind thinks, their bodies take them there. Very fast, very agile, like a ballerina. I didn't get to see mansions, but I have a guess. They're going to be just like all those cathedrals, old churches, capitol buildings, and museums. Those they stole from us that our Father in heaven gave. He is the one who built them. All right. Huckleberry has another comment. Oh, hold on. Dang it. I be going too fast with I needed like a real mouse, Hold on. I don't scroll all the way down. It says in John, didn't Jesus say he created all things? Yes. And number 2, was one Jesus terms that he used for his Abba Father God? Yes. So there's some replies. And he replied to himself first. One word comes to mind: arousing or deserving of sympathetic sadness and compassion. Arousing or deserving or of scornful pity. Expressing or showing anger, passionate, pathetic. Okay. Artist said, no one here thinks they are the only geniuses on the block. Why do you always do this? Start tearing at people. He said, Yahweh is the sifter. He does all the tearing. That's probably why Jesus calls them the tares. Did you ever think of that? Why do you guys have to always tear me down? Should be the question I am now asking. What's the deal with that? The only one tearing around here is the very ones who can't hear him. I'm only sitting here repeating all the very words he said. How do you think I feel knowing this? Do you think I'm throwing a party? No, I am not. This is good news to me because it's the truth. You know, earlier you were saying about how you want to be doing the turning them to dust. Those are not Jesus' words. You just said all you've done is say his words. Those are not Jesus' words, my friend. You might believe you're saying his words, but I think you're not looking in the mirror or a nice clear bowl of water. You got a real pompous feel to you as I read what you say. And my granddaddy used to always say, when you open your mouth, you put your brain on display. And you showing yourself today. You think it feels knowing this? We know how it feels to be in a world full of liars. Like, you think we're not in the same world that you living in? You think over here on our side of the block things are peachy and sweet? Let me switch to Wi-Fi. I should be cleared up in a second if I'm breaking up. Anyways, Huckleberry says, it was the genius comment that bothers you. Or was it a combination of what I said? What's crazy is, artist said, why do you always do this? Start tearing at people. And he just ignores it. He says that's why Jesus called him. Did you ever think of that? And it's like, no, we asking why you tearing us down. He just makes assumptions about what we believe, and he's wrong.
I know.
Like, what's wrong with this guy? Anyways, I'm gonna move on before I get too passionate. Little Floor 2975. You get 2 types of people when coming from trauma. One person is hurt and they continue to hurt themselves through addictions, depression, anxiety, etc. It's all inwards. This person doesn't want to hurt anyone else, especially as they've been hurt and wouldn't want to inflict that on others. The other type is hurt, so they hurt others. So they become the same as their abusers. They use and abuse. They direct the pain out of themselves and try to hurt other people in order to feel more powerful.
No,
What's going on here?
Gotta wait till I get done.
First type is father's child. The second type is devil's child. Any thoughts on that, Sally?
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. He's saying that there's 2 types of hurt people. There's the type that don't want to do any harm to others, and then the type that wants to hurt others in order to, I guess, kind of supplement their hurt.
Hurt people. You know, we've been talking about that a little bit lately, you know? So I find it interesting that a lot of us that come to this truth, we all have a history, we all have a story, you know? We all have some kind of intense pain or trauma or abuse, or there's something, it seems, that most of us, you know, have gone through. And I think it's where do you direct that? That I think that's where a lot of people get angry, and they blame God, who is really, they should be blaming Yahweh, and people turn from the Father from that. And then we have the people like ourselves that are on this channel who are searching for truth, and searching to heal and searching to help others. And then I think we have a few like Huckleberry who might be I don't think he has a clear understanding yet. And sometimes he seems genuine, and on other times he just seems to be kind of attacking, I guess that's the word that comes to mind.
Yeah, I think he knows the truth, and I think he's passionate about the truth. I just think that um, he's just angry. You got to clear that up
Yeah,
first.
he fluctuates back and forth.
Yeah, and that's hard, and like in my past, I've done that too. I mean, a lot of times it's very easy to take it out on other people when you're in pain, that we deflect that onto others, when we're going through something, instead of like self-reflecting and getting to the root of the problem and the core of the problem. That's a little bit of what I see, not knowing that much about him, but we're not the enemy. We're just trying to get the truth out, so.
Yeah. What's up, TikTok?
Hello there.
Hey, TikTok.
Hey,
How are you doing?
pretty good. How are you?
Never been better.
That was a good response, Sally, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Did you have a question for us, TikTok?
I have a question for artist.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you try to debunk Gnostic, because I gotta need that right now.
Try to debunk the Gnostic theories you talking about?
Yes, that one. Exactly that one.
I, to me, they don't hold weight. It's like when I read the books, it's like there's too much in there that's wishy-washy and doesn't jive with Jesus' words within the scripture. And then you've also got the timing of all that stuff came out right when we entered all the mess. It's like it was just too convenient. To me, it's like a distraction in a rabbit hole. It's like it's a place to make people look besides looking at Jesus' words. Because it takes a lot of work. There's so many versions of the Bible, and they've done agendas on every. I mean, it says King James version. It's like I think the more we word search and get into the actual language and look at what he said, we find more answers. I mean, that's why people like my work, and that's what I do. I stay in it. I'm constantly looking to see what I can find, and because I want to know everything he said, but I don't trust those other works. I just don't.
So you don't believe Gnostic and Jesus Barabbas match? Like, they don't match together?
I don't think so. A lot of people do. I know a lot of people are
No.
leaning into that stuff, and I think that it's a mess up. I think that it's a lot of
But now let me ask you this. Do you believe it doesn't match because Gnostic calls Christ consciousness and all that stuff? Is that why?
yeah, because I mean, you've got all the testimonies from him saying, don't ever call me the Christ. It's like commanding people and rebuking those that did. And it's like, once I saw that, I was like, oh, now it's starting to make sense. Especially when you figure out, if you can figure out about Yahweh in the Old Testament, then it makes a lot of sense. Because when you call him that, you're making him out to be Yahweh's child. I don't think people think of it that way, but they are.
Right, but that's literally what led me to Gnostic, because Gnostic believes the same thing, that Yahweh is evil and all that stuff. That's what made me believe. Wait, so does that mean Gnostic was right about everything?
Not all of them. Not all the Gnostics do.
Because
Because
they were also aware of the secret gospel or something like that. Do you believe in that stuff?
I read the Secret Gospel of Thomas. I've read most of the Nagamati. I've read some of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I didn't find any of them to line up well enough for me to trust them.
And why is that?
Well, especially when you get into that stuff as above, so below, and everybody thinking that Father's world's going to come down here and suddenly appear here. And it's like Jesus made it real clear that he's from the world above and we're in the below. We're actually in, the catacosmos, which is the underworld. It's like I don't see it lining up.
So you don't believe in like Sophia giving birth to Yahweh and all that kind of stuff?
No.
It's
He said
ridiculous.
that all that ever came before him were thieves and liars, and the sheep don't hear their voice. And he even made a comment about Sophia. He said, let's see, so how did wisdom's children are justified in her or something like that. It's like in the comment before that when he was talking about the Pan spirit, because he was talking about they played the dirge and they played the flute and nobody danced and all this, and then he said, but wisdom's children are justified by her. And it's like he didn't mean it as a good comment. They think that they're going to be justified by believing in wisdom. I don't think they are.
Someone asked, I'm sorry, who is Sophia? I've been hearing that a lot from Vida, Mary, and
Yeah, Sophia is that's a word that's actually in Greek for wisdom, and it's actually was considered to be like a deity.
so you telling me Gnostic was made up this whole time?
I think so.
What
I
the?
think it's like been a thing to derail people away from Jesus, to be honest.
Also, that makes perfect sense because did Jesus came here to have like an earthly marriage kind of thing? Oh no.
Now, he told us that in heaven people neither marry nor are given in marriage.
Right, the only reason I ask you that is because it says in Book of Mary that he married Mary Magdalene and kissed her on. I don't know. It's something I read about it. I'm like, wait, huh? He married Mary?
That's the Christ. That's James the Just, the Christ. There's some evidence that showed that he went on and he did marry Mary Magdalene and have a family. I don't know if that's proven, but there is some information out there about that. It's not our Father.
Yeah, because it says he told us the one from earth speaks of earthly things, and the one from heaven speaks of heavenly things. And getting married down here would be an earthly thing, you know.
So you telling
Joshua,
me Gnostic?
how come you're searching the Gnostic text versus searching Jesus's words from the Bible? Like what's making you?
Right, I'm glad you asked. What led me to that is because they both connect to the same thing, believing Yahweh is evil. So that's what made me believe, so Gnostic was right about everything? I didn't know that. Like,
Well,
that's what mainly made me believe
just
that.
because they believe that Yahweh is evil doesn't mean that they have the truth. It's sort of like the YouTube channels and TikTok channels. Like, how many of them out there are really controlled opposition? They give you 85% truth, 15% lies, and look at the amount of followers that they have. And the dangerous part of that, and the reason that they're so successful at doing that, is because they get you on the hook. And so then when they tell you the lie, you don't know what to believe. You believe them, because they do put out a lot of truth. And that's why I think all these rabbit holes are so very dangerous. I think that we have to rely on what the red letter text and what Jesus has told us.
Well,
Not
also, not all red letters are actually Jesus himself, just to let you know.
Say that again.
Not all red letters are Jesus himself, like some are the Son of Man.
I
So,
know, and some of that has been corrupted too. But I'm not searching the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi, and I'm not searching all these things to find Jesus, because Jesus Jesus's words are preserved, in the Bible, and so like I'm just going by what he says. I'm not going by what anybody else says.
Okay, this is kind
For
of
one second,
awkward,
hold on.
but
Paradise, did you have a question real quick? Because TikTok, I see you might have a lot of questions, so I just want to give Paradise a chance to ask a question real fast.
yeah, no problem.
Paradise,
Paradise,
who has a
if you have
cat
a
in the
question, you have
background?
to unmute your mic.
Sorry. Yeah, thanks. I'm enjoying the conversation. Yeah, I like to roll on what the Holy Spirit tells me. I like to, of course, I like to center in the Bible, but that doesn't stop me from learning. And yeah, I just roll with Spirit. That's the most important thing for me. Is like, what am I getting personally, not what someone else is trying to tell me to look at or lead me to. Um, but that's about it. Yeah. But I look at Gnostic texts. I look at just about everything. I think you can learn something from all sorts of places, and I get it confirmed by God. So it gets confirmed or not confirmed internally. That's about it.
Okay, so not really a question. You're just letting us know kind of how you operate and how you move, which is understandable.
Yeah, pretty much. I had a spiritual experience about 10 years ago, and it's been rolling ever since. And I ran to a lot of churches and places to kind of get them to explain what was happening to me, but I don't think they understood themselves. So, yeah, I just find it really interesting. I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly, yeah, things I believed. I don't really believe anything. I get shown and I know it, and then, yeah, it's like known. So, and then, it can shift, and it's always growing. So I like that. I don't feel like you should get stagnant in your. I think a lot of people run to other people to try to understand things, but I think it's an internal journey, like more than external.
I do think that observation is king
Hmm.
when it comes to truth, and but I think that if people are gonna start like in a world full of lies, especially when we're in a world full of lies and deceiving,
Amen.
you should have a foundation. You should have eyes that see and discernment before you start walking out. You know what I'm saying? And looking
Oh,
around.
absolutely,
Because
absolutely. I
if
mean, like
not, you're
it's such a
doomed.
process,
Yeah.
but it
You'll
started with
get
the
so
Bible,
lost and you don't know how to
like
get back.
yeah, no worries. Thank you.
I wanted to show them this. Okay, this might help TikTok too. Okay, this is about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, and this is one of these extra books that everybody started gravitating to so quick, and deciding that it was good and all this and everything. But they don't even realize that in March 4, 1949, after these things were found, one of the leading Bible scholars um, called it a hoax, called it a complete hoax. To him, he thought the entire thing was. His name was let's see, Dr. Zetlin of Dropsy College. He was the leading scholar on the Second Temple time period. And this is a whole article about why he thought it was a hoax. And we've got people that on YouTube that do like Dead Sea Scroll groups now. They follow the Dead Sea Scrolls instead of following Jesus' words. Now I'm going to show you one of the reasons. Okay, you see that cave right there? Can you see that picture? This is one of the reasons I think it's a hoax. Okay.
Artist, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can this title be about debunking Gnosticism, please? Because
Yeah, this is one of the things that Gnostics approve of is the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I
It's
know,
like,
but I'm saying, can this video title of yours on YouTube be about debunking the Gnostics?
I'd have to do more research because I haven't done it on the Nagamadis yet. I know the dating on them is way off. They're way too late on where they're dated. That's the only part I've found so far. But just look at that cliff. This was supposed to be a bunch of shepherds that were grazing sheep, and they took a rock, threw it through the cave opening there. It hit a jar, busted the jar, and they found that Isaiah scroll in there. Now, what kind of throwing arm would you have to hit a jar in that cave? And what were the sheep eating?
It's a good question.
Where were they walking? That don't even look pleasant to walk on.
You can't even hardly get to that cave. It took them forever to get up in there. And it's like every article you read about it says, just like an Indiana Jones tale. I think I came up with like 7 million hits on Google as far as how many times it was likened to the Indiana Jones tale. Indiana Jones is a fake. But we have a museum now. We have people going to look at that. They don't even have the real scroll on display. And the reason they give for that is that it's too delicate to be even put up in there. Even though that's behind glass and everything, nobody can touch the scroll. And the rest of the scrolls, except for the Isaiah scroll, look like confetti. Like you had taken it up and chopped it up into confetti and threw it up in the air. But yet everybody believes this. And then the other one is all of a sudden in Egypt, we find a bunch of manuscripts that change the entire picture of what Jesus is like. And this was right after this one. It's like it's all in the same time period. It's like in the 1940s, 1950s. Just too convenient. Way too convenient. And their stories just don't. To me, when I read about it, it's like, who came up with this stuff? You know? But you got book after book on the Dead Sea Scrolls. You got people following that instead of, you got, there's a Jewish guy now that says that he found another scroll that there was about, that Jesus came much, much earlier than we thought. And now they got a whole new storyline and all this. It's like, I think there will always be somebody coming up with something to try to deter us from staying in his words, or to try to drive us into a rabbit hole somewhere where we're lost and we can't get back out. That's my opinion. But this one, to me, that's plausible. That's ludicrous to think that they were grazing sheep there and they threw a rock in that cave.
And yet the world does believe it. That's the sad part.
They don't have any other jars either. That's what Dr. Zetlin said. He said, this is a complete hoax. He said, we don't have any jars. We don't have anything to back this up. We have nothing. And then they sold $2 million worth of these scrolls to the Museum of the Bible in New York, and they were all deemed a fake. It's like, but nobody ever mentions Dr. Zetlin, even though he was the leading authority on all this stuff, and he called it a hoax. But I'm sorry, TikTok, I haven't done the research yet on the Nagamati to get this in depth. But when I checked, they're not even on the right paper for the right time period. These are on Vermilion, and Vermilion wasn't even that time period. This is what happens to us. And it's going to get easier and easier with the internet for people to be. It's like I told them, not everything I find it's an old book, or like tonight when I found those words, I made sure I had a screenshot of that, because when I mention something like this online, the next time I go back to show it to somebody, that website's been gone. They've taken it down. Mm. And that to me is intentional too. Because they're starting to watch me. I'm telling y'all, they are watching me.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. No question.
But I'll look into the Nagamati too, but I can tell you, it's like, I think that a lot of this is just them trying to send everybody down rabbit holes. and they're dead ends. They go nowhere.
And unfortunately, their plan is working because everybody's looking everywhere other than at Jesus's words.
Yeah, I can't even remember where I made that list. When I was reading the Nag Hammadi, I started writing down on a piece of paper in my notebook about everything I read that sounded like it smacked back to Wicca. I was like, oh, that's New Age. They added that in there, and it's like the Gospel of the Holy 12. Now I do know that to me that's a fake. It was supposedly a channeled work. I did research into it. The guy channeled it. He channeled the spirit of the book, and it came out his hand with automatic writing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, people, it's like now you can attest to our New Testament being, to me now, and a lot of scholars will argue with you on that too, that it's not even valid. But you have 5,000 manuscripts of the New Testament. 5,000. You have more documentation on Jesus than we do any other character that's ever come through history. You don't have as many on Plato's writings, not near as many as we do on Jesus. And we have that many manuscripts we can compare back and forth, and we also can compare notes where people were writing about verses back and forth, and those pretty much line up too. It's like when they were saying, oh, but in verse such and such it says, when they're writing a letter to each other. So you've got that too. So they have a lot of church documentation of the early church that attests to these, but all this other stuff, we don't have any. We have some few things that'll mention a book here or there, but not near the stuff we got on the New Testament. And it comes down to two. I'm gonna say something probably controversial here, but we don't worship a book either. It's like Jesus is very real,
Right.
and I believe his words were preserved within that book. But I don't think that book is from the whole book is correct. I think that Yahweh was a liar, and I think a lot of the stuff in the Old Testament is lies. But I think when you compare with his words to those lies, he tells you the truth that, yes, those are lies, if that makes any sense. But we don't worship a book. Jesus was a real thing. He was not a piece of paper with words on it. And it's not the amount of wisdom and the amount of studying or any of that that gets us anywhere. It's our relationship with him and talking to the Father. It's like, I probably drive Father crazy because I'm constantly, will you help me find this so I can prove this to them? Because I know what I'm feeling is right, but I have to have proof. And every time I ask, that proof is there. It's there. Because that one girl, she kept coming to me, tell me, oh, God told me today, and God told me today, and God told me today. And I said, if God told you, or his spirit of truth come through you, he'll show you the proof. He's going to line that up with something you can actually concrete take to that person. And that's the way I go about my research. If I get a sense that something's not right, and I feel like it's Father's spirit of truth talking to me, then I'll go look for the proof. And it usually just is right there. It just falls in my face. It's like I don't have any trouble finding it. That's the way I do things. But
Do you think there's things in the Bible that are meant for certain people, and God's not going to share them with everybody? I think in the book of Matthew it tells you that about the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, that many wise men and prophets have wished to understand these things, and he's not shown them. But he shows them to certain people, and those certain people who would like try to tell other people about those things would be considered like crazy, or like not even the most versed Christian would even not look themselves.
I think he'll share with everybody, but you have to keep asking. You have to say,
I think it's, really important that we don't condemn prior to investigate. I think we really need to do a thorough investigation and then make a decision whether, on what the scripture's saying to ourselves personally. And I just think over the years, how it's got so watered down is it's not a personal relationship centered from within, that it becomes where I'm running to ask somebody, what does this mean? And then they got a commentary and it means this. And it's like, what's it saying though? What is it really saying? And I think it's hard to get an interpretation off somebody else. And I know it's a very intense book, and of course we need to bounce things off of each other and have people who we're drawn to as like teachers and stuff like that. But I think many even people who've been reading a book for a long time and someone who just picked up the book may see things that they overlooked.
I don't even consider myself a teacher. I just sharing what I study, because I started studying just because I wanted to know him. I wanted to be closer to him. And it's like I kept finding stuff, and then I read that verse about what I whisper in your ear, shout to the rooftops. And I felt like I should just be shouting what he has shared with me, you know. And so that's why I started doing this.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you speak like you do, because sometimes to get shared certain things and then like being able to speak about them publicly and take ridicule for what you found is like it's part of it, right? And how did we get to 40,000 different doctrines, or I don't know how many he's growing, but I love the book. I love what God showed me in the book, and I just I'm fed by that like constantly. I've never had a dull moment in 10 years of not looking and finding. When you seek me with all, it's there, and that all is the key. It's when you finally given up on everything and you've that hail Jesus moment, or let's say, where you just throw it all away and then you find it. You found, the old man is dead. Baptism by fire is what I found.
And it's so hard to get people to see this now. They're so indoctrinated. It's really sad. My own sister calls me delusional.
Yeah, it's all right. Mine too. And she's a heavy duty Christian. I call her a hooky spooky Christian, but she's like, no doubt like Christian. And I love her to death. But, people, especially if you're going to see something, that's very unique, not everyone's going to understand that. And sometimes you just got to sit with it and understand that maybe no one will understand it. But that's all right, because God shared it with you. And that if it's beautiful, it just remains beautiful, and then it remains special.
Somebody told me, they said, it's not normal to do what you do. No. I said, I guess not, but I do it.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. I would not trade my life, everything. At one point, I thought my life was a total failure until I realized that it's just the opposite.
I did too. To be honest, I really thought I was a failure until I found out how much Father loves me and that he was willing to let me share some of this stuff and learn it. And I was like, oh, wow, he does love me,
I'll totally be a failure here. Those who lose their life in this world have a greater one in the next world. I'll take that. I'm a failure in this world.
Did that help, TikTok?
It was fabulous. Love that.
We only have like 4 more comments. I think 1, 2, 3. Okay, 5.
Okay, we better get those too. We'll be 3-4 hours and I'll be downloading till 1.
Well, Faye said, Elaine, at the beginning, were you talking about the silver iodine when you said about rubbing iodine in the in the nose with the Q-tips? Let me see. I think she probably replied to. She said no, it's just a regular iodine, but I think there are different percentages or something still. The red orange kind.
This is so strange you say that. So when I started my spiritual experience, I was like doing something most like people wouldn't do, like, and it was I was taking nascent iodine and I was sun gazing, and within like I don't know, like a week, like I was literally I have out of body experiences. Like all of a sudden, like I understood like certain texts in the Bible, Genesis and the creation, like in a literal way, and it just like within 2 weeks I'm chasing people around in the park with Bibles. And like I'm from Vegas, I'm not a Christian. Like I didn't grow up Christian. I was like and it just had this profound like change came over me that I just I immediately like started running and like dropped all this weight. I just like I didn't. It was like something was like electricity was shot in me, and it's still the same. It's like I feel the same. Like every day is like the day I get to be here. I get to be present, and I get to really like just keep watch looking, and I always get fed. I never feel like like I'm missing something or I need to learn, like, but I do constantly seek closer relationship, and it's all done through, like I told you, like synchronicities and stuff, or like my it's Holy Spirit stuff. It's like when it's confirmed, it's like undeniable personally. So I don't need to like I just check it, and sometimes I try to share it, but when you're trying to share something so personal, like a spiritual experience that's personal to you, I don't think that it will ever transition. You'll be able to really explain it to someone where they, where they were experienced, because it's like an experience thing. That's the difference between, if you're not really experiencing it personally, it's not real. And I always try to do that external thing with, God or whatever, try to feel it, like just do what other people were doing. And I never really felt it until I like started to do it like for real, like for myself. Like I had to scream in the sky. I got so angry, and like I'm like, I don't know who you are, but I want to know, like, and it was like a real moment where I was just like done, because I wanted out. And then everything cleared right up.
And now you're walking around with this level of, right? That's what the spirit of truth does.
Yeah, it's undeniable, and it's like nothing I can turn off. I can't. It's like I went talked to my family pretty much. I just got back from Vegas, and like the first time I talked to my little brother, and he's like, you can't do this, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't stop, Chris. Like I can't. It's not nothing. He's worried about what people think about me, and I'm like, look at us all, man. We're all freaking one foot in the grave, and we're all acting like back home. We're acting like high school kids. Like no one's got a plan. No one knows anything. It's like, oh, and you guys are tripping on me because I'm like having an experience with God. It's like everyone's dying left and right. It's, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean now.
Right. I mean, like I look for solutions for my people, for my friends, like who are dying back in Vegas, they have no solution. Yeah. It's like,
I tell that to people all the time that, like when I speak to a Muslim or something, or, and they're like, well, why do you believe what you believe? And they think I'm crazy. But I'm like, well, what has worked here already? You got religion here already. And none of that stuff works.
mess.
I was going to show this real quick before I forget, because Ellen's helping me remember. This is the YouTube channel, if anybody wants to put it down and you hadn't been to the YouTube channel. And that is our Facebook pages. with our names on there, so that that's the people on the panel. If you want to get in touch with us, that's the easiest way to get in touch with us. Center it a little, okay.
Yeah, hi, they can't stop us this way. Good idea.
Did that help?
Oh man, I look crazy on there though. I gotta change my picture.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna put that on the desktop too, so I can pull it down anytime we need it.
That's really cool, you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, but this is like
Gotta,
the Scriptural Truths YouTube channel here. That's Tim and Sally, Lynn, and myself here. Go on.
Sally is Abba's daughter. That's me. I'm Sally.
Oh, really nice to meet you guys. I kind of just stumbled in here. I didn't even realize I pushed the button, because sometimes I'm on this farm in New South Wales and I'm just kind of fumbling with my phone listening to you guys. But yeah, I'm glad I
Have you not
stumbled in.
joined once before? I thought I'd
I
seen you in
probably
here
have.
before, like a
I'm
long time ago.
I'm kind of a I don't know like what I am on you. I'm always in trouble on TikTok. I'm always yeah, I don't know what I am. I'm just me.
you're always
And,
in detention.
Yeah, always. I can't. I mean, I don't play by the rules, but I kind of, yeah. I'm a filmmaker, and I just like to try to produce thought-inspiring content that might not be the most Christian-looking content, but it's like it's just my life that I've lived, and like I kind of like use their stuff against them, to really kind of show what it is, what that the adversary is. And I found most of the time it was just me against me, like me causing a lot of problems for me. Yeah, can definitely take responsibility for a lot of so-called things that I thought were bad in my life, but they weren't. They're actually, I'm finding it's predisposed. It seems like you can't help but be yourself, and God made you to be you. And I think the more that we, lean into that, the more, yeah, because it just seems like all the stuff I thought was bad really was the stuff I learned most from. And then chasing the easier, softer way always led to more pain.
You want to go on to the next one, Tim?
Yep. We appreciate you, Paradise, for your
We sure
testimony.
do. We sure do.
Little Floor says, "Can this be explained? My sister is younger than me. From the moment she could talk, she was wicked. From the moment she could get around, she would unkind things. I guess do unkind things. She had always been selfish, manipulative, a liar, a thief. To this very day, she has been this way. We were both taught right from wrong. We both experienced we both experienced adults who were mean and others who were loving. I instinctively understood right from wrong. I always felt guilty if I did do something bad. She has no remorse, no conscience. Her intentions have always been selfish. I don't understand why she has been hateful from birth. Is her spirit from Yahweh and mine from Father? Why is it this way? I know traumatized people often fall into bad behavior. However, some people have been hateful without the trauma, before the trauma. Please, Father, help me to understand what's going on here." And Artist, you actually replied. Hold on. Yeah, you replied. Hold on. Did you reply? Oh, he replied first, and then you replied. He also said years ago, we both learned a lot about this world being run by maniacs. We both found out about the conspiracies. We both found out we were in some kind of human farm or prison. My response was I wanted nothing to do with it and wanted to live off grid so I wouldn't have to participate in evil. Her response was that she wanted the power they have. If you can't beat them, join them. She become money obsessed, including befriending a disabled lady to be put on her will and treating the lady with disrespect, thieving from her and willing her to die. It's awful. Or to
Oh,
unalive,
wow.
sorry. We both looked into New Age for answers. She is now a witch who does spells for money and power and to hurt people she doesn't like. I felt uneasy about New Age. I looked into some of it, but never did anything to gain power and only looked at it for healing tools. I ended up feeling so uneasy about it all, I just threw all the books and crystals I had into the trash. And then Artist You replied, said, so sad. I have no clue though. My sister and I seem like polar opposites also. Yeah, and I got two brothers, two sisters I grew up with. And I think me and my little brother, we match character the most. But even still, you know, we have our differences. But I think that he's a genuinely good guy. He just doesn't know truths like that, you know. But
I really don't have an answer for that. Why some people turn out like that? I don't get it.
you know, whatever happened with that whole eating of the tree of good and evil, or whatever really happened, it introduced some type of evil into the world to where it was now it can manifest physically, you know, evil. And then they start having children, one's evil and one isn't. You know? And I think that's just how it is since we're in this fallen world now. No matter how much you teach all your children the same thing. I think I said that to someone the other live. You can teach all your children the same thing and they just come up different. Some of them choose to take your direction, the other ones don't, but they have the free will to do so. And that's even how the angels fell, because they had the free will to do so. So I feel for you. I'm glad that you didn't go the same route your sister did.
Yeah, I am too.
You know, I hope my family come to it as well, because I have family members that got some of the same ideas as your sister, you know. So Little Floor also said, I thought altruistic meant you treat everyone with kindness, no matter what they've done. I think they meant it's not good to be altruistic when dealing with spiritual serpents who are here to harm us. I know we was talking about that on the other one. I had to look up what that meant.
I may have it backwards on that.
And then you asked him if that was his post, right? About the altruistic on the last one.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it was someone else's post who was criticizing the panel for being altruistic. And you replied that you are not altruistic. I think there's confusion in what is meant by altruistic. And you were like, I might be confused by the term, then we have to look it up. But yeah, I thought it meant something offensive. Yeah. At least when I first looked it up, I thought, but maybe I have to look it up again. Refold Cirque got your name down, and we find out that he's a man. So I'm sorry about that. Calling you a lady. Perish is the key word for me here. I guess he's talking about in at 1 hour 17 minutes into the last live. And Artist, you said I should have clarified that with Tim. Also, he did speak more on hell than heaven, but not in the sense that he was going to do it. It was more like a warning sense. Yeah. Yeah, he's saying, watch out for the for the evil one, you know.
Yep.
And I didn't take it that way. So I didn't take it like you were disagreeing with me.
Oh, good.
And then Ripfo Cirque again, last one. Thanks for taking the time and effort to answer my question and discussing the verses. 37 minutes in, isn't it strange for him to reply like that? Like, say you come up to a man in the corner and ask him, "Are you the store owner?" Then he say, "You say I am." Wouldn't it be more logical if his response was like saying, "You said it," or "As you say I am"? And then I guess he's doing an example now. So, person, are you the Messiah, Jesus, as you say I am, or you said it? It seems a little weird when a person is asking you about something in a negative sense, like the priest does not believe he is Messiah, and he'd answer, "That's what you were saying, which I did not claim." It's weird, like the priests were forcing the issue that he is the Messiah, but they weren't, or they were not. In the story, the priests were hoping he'd deny it and say, "No, I didn't claim to be Messiah or Son of God." But Jesus didn't, and so they unalived him for it. Like, that was the entire story with Jesus and the high priest, right? I don't want to forget my little comment here, but then they claimed to he didn't claim to be the Messiah, but he claimed to be the son of God, as the text says, right? And then they said, "What further proof do we need now?" Right? Because they were looking for reasons to accuse him. And I think that they were trying to, when they asked him if he's the Messiah, they were trying to use that as proof, but he still wouldn't even claim to be the Messiah.
Right.
But then when he claimed to be the Son of God, that's when they were like, all right, yeah, we got him. Because now he claiming to be one with God, with the Father.
Right.
So,
but they still had false witnesses, according to Mark. Like tons of them.
Yeah, all the false witnesses came before he called himself the Son of God. So, because they were still looking for some kind of way. So they brought a lot of false witnesses for it, and they all were still failing to accomplish their goal. But as soon as he said, he's the Son of God, that was it. But I'll finish this comment real quick. Let me see. So in the story, the priests were hoping he'd deny it and say, "No, I didn't claim to be Messiah or Son of God," but Jesus didn't, and so they unalived him for it. Like, that was the entire story with Jesus and the high priest, right? They want to catch him claiming that he is the Son of God so they can be justified when they kill him or unalive him. Dang it. Why would he not simply say, "No, I am not Messiah," and just be done with it, right? And he never answered them directly. He would just say, "You say I am Messiah, not me." When they are not saying he is Messiah, they in fact will leave him alone if he would just say he is not the Messiah. And I don't think that right there is an assumption, not red folk circ, because he did say that he's not the Messiah. And they were still looking for reasons to do that. And the reason why is because this man he raised Lazarus from the dead. And so that from that point on, they saw the world going after him, and they was like, man, not only do we got to get him, but we got to get Lazarus again. He was drawing the people away from Yahweh and all of his little followers and prophets and priests. And that was the problem. Because then they don't have their power anymore. So, and his last thing, they instead want to hear it from themselves, him claiming, but he never says no directly, nor says yes directly, but he never denies it. Also, yes, my name is Chris. I'm a guy. Yeah, see? What's up, Chris? Can I call you Chris instead of not red folk circ now? Because, man. Oh, and then there's a reply. My bad. Yeah, you would have thought so, but with all the other stuff like rebuking people for saying it, and this is artist, by the way. But with all the other stuff like rebuking people for saying it, telling them no man should never call him that, and warning it would be the deception, I guess maybe he thought that he was, that it was enough to say it like that. So sorry, I did not know you were a guy. Yeah, me either. Sorry about that. But that's a good point, artist. Like, what about the times where he kept saying, "Don't call me that. Don't call me that." Before that time. But I think to the people, he wanted to make sure the people knew he wasn't the Christ. And then to the priests, he knew that he had to be given up, you know what I'm saying? So he would just let them think whatever. So that he could fulfill what he came to do. I think that's why he forgive them, even because they know not what they do, Yeah, that is all the comments. Feel like Dora the Explorer right now. We did it.
We did it. We missed you, Aylin, but we did it.
Yeah, we did miss you.
Lynn.
Free Lynn, yeah, we're gonna get t-shirts. Free Lynn, TikTok.
Got my friend behind bars over there, man. Come on. Did anybody else have any questions? TikTok, you got any questions? Paradise, got any last things that you guys want to ask?
No, I just want to
Definitely
say I
appreciate you guys
really
coming on.
enjoyed this, you guys. I really appreciate y'all. I got to get back to work, and yeah, I'm sub to you guys, and I'll be listening, and I'd like to participate in this channel.
Thanks, Paradise. We appreciated
Awesome,
having you.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's refreshing.
That's awesome.
Have a
Much
question.
love.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
thank you.
listening in the comments. Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a question.
Love you too, brother.
Oh man.
I have a question for artists.
That was awesome.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Alright, so what do you think about the official from the YouTube channel?
Say that again.
What do you think about Morg the official from YouTube channel?
Who? I couldn't understand who you're saying.
What do you think about Morg the official from the YouTube channel?
Oh, I don't know.
Because he talks something about, I don't know, about a hyponeogean kind of thing.
I'm not sure what he's talking about. Do you know, Tim?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
Right, okay, try to research Morg the official from YouTube channel and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Somebody that commented
Okay.
on our channel, or he has his own channel?
He has his channel, YouTube channel, Morg the official.
I've never heard of him.
Message
Yeah,
me with this link and I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll message you right
Yeah.
now. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. And I was gonna say, and I'm sure artists will put it in Discord too for all of us to check out.
Yeah, I can put it there too, and everybody can look at it.
Right, I just commented. Now you can see.
All right.
We
I'll
appreciate
check
that.
him out.
But he's the one who founded this new religion called the hyponeogean. Something like that. That's just who he is, really.
Doesn't sound too promising then if he's starting a new religion.
It doesn't sound too promising with the name Morg either.
Yeah, more. It's a good point.
I mean,
Maybe the title's not too bad. Maybe he's trying to just draw attention. You know.
who knows?
I'll check it out though and see what I think.
Actually, can you check it out right now? We want to see how you think.
Oh, you want me to look at it right now? Okay.
We want your opinion. That's why.
Let's see.
There it says right there, Morg official.
Oh, I am familiar with him.
Yeah, that one.
Nah, I don't like him.
Why not?
Well, he's a Satanist for one thing.
How is he a Satanist?
He says he is. Have you ever listened to his videos?
Oh no, that was him being sarcastic. That I watched it.
He throws a lot of hand signals when he's talking too.
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know who that is.
But based on that, the way you look at his appearance, what does this tell you spiritually?
His appearance?
Yeah, the way you're looking at him right now, like, what does this tell you spiritually?
That he's trying to look evil. He's trying to look like he's, and he always has a lot of witchcraft stuff in the pictures. Like that one. He has the upside down pentagram. See it?
Yeah, I see it.
If you go to his channel, see he's trying to look mean in that picture, and then he's got the whisper sign on his face. Got
All doing the one eye symbolism at the same time.
Yeah, he's got a lot of I don't know. You'd have to the darkest secrets of the book of Lucifer, and I mean, he's into a lot of stuff.
Heavy, hard pass on that one.
Yeah.
So, what is your opinion on that?
I think it's from the dark side. I think it's from the evil side. I don't know why anybody would actively choose to do that, you know?
That's
Doesn't
kind of
make
scary.
any sense. There's Shannon.
Hey, Shannon.
How
Man, my
you doing,
connection is
Shannon?
awful right now.
What? You don't think that's evil, TikTok?
Yes, it looks scary.
Is that somebody you watch TikTok?
I mean, I watch his videos sometimes, but I just need to see Artist's point of view on this one to see what she thinks of this.
He has. I've watched some of his stuff, and he's real deep into the Satanism. He really is. He's got a lot of knowledge. I mean, he's read a lot of books and stuff, but he's real deep in the negative stuff.
But does he know on what you know?
He knows some of what I know, but he's choosing the dark side, which is
I mean,
not very bright.
right, but I mean, fully, like, does he know, like, Jesus Barabbas, or is he not familiar with that?
I haven't ever heard him talk about the two Jesuses.
Well, you could, because he also doesn't know about Paul. He's the false apostle. He does not know that either. So I think that's two things he does not know about.
I think he thinks that Jesus is Lucifer.
Oh yeah, he said something about that because
Yeah, I've heard him say that before.
Lucifer and Jesus, they represent like light, the light bringer, and he believes that Satan and Lucifer are not the same, but like they're like different kind of thing. And he believes that because Satan represents what darkness, Lucifer represents light, and Satan means adversary, while Lucifer represents the morning star. So that's why he believes they're two different.
You know, the only place in the Bible where there really is the word Lucifer is in Peter's books. It's really strange. He's the only one that used the actual word for Lucifer in Greek.
For real?
Shannon, did you got sound?
Did you join us by accident, Shannon?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think
Yeah,
Shannon.
I did. I was
Hey,
trying to get my get my bed set up, and I threw the phone down, and I must have joined by accident.
okay. Well, hello anyway.
But while I'm up here, it was a really good live, and
Thank you.
I appreciate everybody that was on the panel tonight. And keep searching TikTok, Joshua. Just keep looking for Jesus Baraba, and beware all these rabbit holes. They're everywhere. So,
Yes, I am.
and I really appreciated. I really appreciated that. What was his name? Paradise.
Paradise, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
follow
he's
him.
real
I want
nice.
to check out what kind of movies he makes. So anyway, I love all you guys. I'm gonna.
Hannah.
It's pretty cold here. I'm gonna crawl into bed. I'll
Okay.
listen. I'll keep listening, but I'm gonna jump off.
Okay,
All right.
Shannon.
Good night, Shannon.
Night.
Good night.
Well, guys,
Man,
I'm
I'm
about
jealous.
ready to call it. Are y'all tired? I'm sorry, TikTok. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
You good? You good? Honestly,
I
this is
think everybody's tired.
I'm not tired actually. I still want to keep up with this conversation. I'm actually enjoying it.
Thank you, TikTok. I appreciate that.
Like I have a lot of energy. Like usually I take so much energy to talk to you because this is really important. Like,
Well, I got to go to work in a little bit. Just to be fair warning for you guys. In about 5 minutes, I got to start getting
Yeah,
ready.
I got to get going too. It's late here, but you gonna come back next time, TikTok?
yes,
Hang
it's
out
my,
with us?
yes, whenever I get the chance.
Okay. Well, we're gonna call it for tonight because we're all tired, and Tim's got to go to work.
So when is the next live?
We'll be back on Sunday, right, guys?
Not Friday.
Oh, Friday. I'm sorry. What am I thinking? What is
Today's
today?
Wednesday. Yeah,
Okay, it's Friday. Yeah. Okay. I don't even know what day it is, y'all. That's
I know.
bad.
It's weird. It's an odd week. I'm off
Mm-hmm.
this week, so I don't know what day it is either.
We'll be back Friday at about 7
Good night,
Eastern
everybody in the
Standard
chat.
Time.
Everyone's
Yeah. I appreciate everybody being here, and I really enjoyed. I love you guys.
Love y'all too. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
love you guys. Good night.